At Marr College in Troon, one former pupil remembered being punished by an English teacher, Miss Beaton, and returning to class in tears while classmates looked on. A former student of Marshland High School in Wisbech recalled Mrs. Fleming, affectionately nicknamed by pupils, administering punishment with the slipper, although she was remembered as considerate enough to allow pupils to choose which hand would receive the punishment. At Macaulay High School in Doncaster, one former pupil spoke warmly of Miss Jackson, despite having been caned by her on occasion. Former pupils of Mesnes High School in Wigan remembered Miss Pilling, who was said to have administered the cane more than once during the mid-1970s. At Moat Mount School in Brent, memories were mixed. One former student, who attended between 1972 and 1978, recalled both happy experiences and others that had remained deeply unsettling. Punishments included the slipper from Mr. Green and strikes with a steel ruler from Mrs. Saunders. Monk Seton High School in Whitley Bay also featured prominently in recollections. Former pupils remembered Mrs. Main, who taught needlework, and Miss White, known by the nickname Flossie, whose attempts at administering the cane were said to be rather inaccurate. At Moorside High School in Manchester, Mr. Hayes, a mathematics teacher, was remembered as a particularly intimidating figure because of his use of the cane. Another former pupil recalled Miss Clayton using the strap as punishment for wearing mascara. At Moorside High School in Stoke, pupils remembered receiving slaps to the legs for wearing school skirts considered too short, while Mrs. Biddle was recalled for her use of the slipper. Former students of Mornington High School in Wigan remembered Mr. Lord and Miss Whittaker. One recalled being assured that the punishment would not be severe because it was a first offence, only to discover otherwise when struck with a Dunlop training shoe. At Mortimer Comprehensive School in South Shields, a former pupil later encountered Mrs. Henderson years after leaving school and remarked that she was the only teacher ever to have administered the cane to her. Memories from Mossley Hollins High School in Manchester included an incident involving a smoke bomb in a sewing class, which resulted in punishment from Mrs. Mullaney. At Moulton John Harrock School in Spalding, former pupils spoke positively of Mrs. Jameson, while also recalling Mrs. Watts, who was known for using a green and white Dunlop training shoe as a disciplinary instrument. One particularly striking recollection came from Mountain Ash Comprehensive School in South Wales, where a former pupil described a serious disagreement with an accounts teacher that escalated into physical confrontation, after which the pupil was caned by a form teacher. At Netherhall School in Cambridge, the head teacher, Mrs. Barrett, was remembered for administering the slipper, while at Netherstowe High School in Lichfield, pupils recalled Mr. Harvey as both amusing and intimidating, particularly when punishments involved slaps to the legs. Former pupils of Norfolk School in Sheffield remembered incidents from the early 1970s in which caning was administered for perceived insolence or disobedience, even in circumstances involving poor weather and refusal to go outdoors. At North Axholme School in Scunthorpe, Mrs. Musgrave and headmistress Mrs. Thornton were both remembered for their use of the cane, often in response to classroom disruption. North Chadderton Comprehensive School in Manchester generated many recollections of the strap being used for a wide variety of offences, including lateness, poor spelling test results, smoking, and even eating ice lollies during lessons. Former pupils described the punishments as painful, though some also recalled certain teachers with surprising fondness despite their strictness. At Nunthorpe Comprehensive School in Middlesbrough, former students remembered Mrs. Allen, head of girls, as someone to whom pupils were sent for caning. Meanwhile, at Oakmead College in Bournemouth, pupils recalled the headmistress, Miss Hutt, keeping a cane prominently displayed in the corner of her office.